When I graduated from college, I decided to do something that was both fun and profitable. I decided to start an educational business. But there were some problems. You see, when it came to finance, I didn't know where the money was coming from. Customer service, did I really need that? And marketing, how do you get people to bite? But fortunately for me, I had somebody in my corner, Marcy. She was a business expert. And Marcy said to me, Mike, you only need one thing in order to be successful. I said, Marcy, what's that? And she said, you need customers. I thought, customers, where do I get them, Marcy? And Marcy said, well, the best way to get started is to buy a mailing list. There was only one problem. I just graduated from college. I didn't have a nickel to my name. So I decided to go to the only bank in town that would loan me money, the Bank of Mom. So I said to my mom, Mom, I need to borrow some money in order to be successful. And my mom says to me, 有冇搞錯？你需要幾多錢啊? Did I mention that my mom was Chinese? She said, oh my gosh, how can you ask me for money? I just paid for your college. You're supposed to be helping me back. I said, Mom, don't worry, I will, and I will pay you everything back. I just need to borrow $20,000. My mom said, wow. She said, do you really want to do this? I said, yes, Mom. Don't worry, I'll pay you back. So very reluctantly, my mom loaned me the money. With $20,000, I was able to purchase 60,000 postcards, sent it to various zip codes, and then I decided to just wait by the phone. And then I waited, and then I waited some more. Finally, the phone rang. I picked up that phone and I said, Prodigy Educational Services, this is Mike speaking. How may I help you? The lady on the other side of the phone, she said, yeah, I got your postcard in the mail. I said, yeah, uh-huh. She said, can you remove me from the mailing list? Ouch. $20,000, 60,000 postcards, and she wanted to be removed. That was the only phone call I got. Now I learned something at that moment. I learned that I needed more in order to be more. Fast forward to today, I performed on over 1,000 stages, both domestically and internationally. Some of my companies include Google, eBay, American Express. So it begs the question, what made the difference between then and now? Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. I eventually paid my mom back. In between was the secret. Now, some of you may have heard the old adage that you do business with those you know, like, and trust. Yes? That was what I was missing. Now, how was I going to find out that information? I decided to take every course, seminar, and class on that topic. I went to the bookstore and bought dozens and dozens of books on the topic, and I even read them. And over the next few years, I learned some incredible secrets on how to perform at your best. And that's what we'll talk about today. The first key is, it starts with you. When I was just 7 years old, I remembered the crock pot as if it were yesterday. It was so important to us because most of our meals would come out of the crock pot. Have you ever cooked out of a crock pot before? Now, when we cooked out of the crock pot, the family would get together and start to smell the food. We would look forward to the food, and finally we would eat together. That crock pot centered family life. I decided as a little boy that I was going to help my mom. I grabbed that crock pot off the dining room table, marched it across the kitchen, and then I dropped it. Now the crock pot was both in the kitchen and the living room. And so I looked at my mom looks at me, I look at the crock pot, she looks at the crock pot, and then I look at her and she says to me, don't you ever do that again. the crock pot was not the only thing that shattered that day. So did my confidence. You see, from that point on, anytime I tried to help with something or fix something, I would remember the crock pot. Have you ever tried to help with something only to make things worse? And so, for me, that was the beginning of having confidence issues and self-doubt, things that started limiting me. When the closet rod in my room broke and clothes was all over the floor, I would get somebody else to help me. When the sink was clogged, I would touch it. I would get somebody else to do it. And so a lot of people, they ask me, well, you know, with so many self-limiting thoughts, how did you ever become a magician? 8 years ago, I was at a conference and there was a magician. He was showing a lot of tricks to everybody. And I decided, hey, that's really cool. I'm just gonna watch what he does. And I watched and I watched and I watched. At the end of the evening, he comes up to me and says, hey, Mike, I don't know how to say this, but you really like the trick I did, right? I said, yeah, this one right here, where you take a rope and you just go like this. I said, yeah, I love that trick. And then when I blow on it, it just returns. Yeah, that's the one. I really love that trick. He said, you know what? You could do it. I can see you doing this. I said, no, I can't. I can't do it. He says, yes, you can. And then I was like, are you sure I can do this? And he says, you got to do it to get through it. Whatever your self-limiting thoughts are, things that are holding you back, you need to do it to get through it. Key number 2. Now, coupled with key 1, key 2 would pack a 1-2 punch. Key 2 has to do with the people in your life. Has anyone ever said something to you that really messed up your day? How about somebody who said something to you that's really made your day? I'm sure all of us have had those feelings before. When people say something or do something to us that's very negative, it's like breaking us into a gazillion little pieces, and we feel that way. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could just take all those broken pieces in our lives and just make it completely whole again? Now, you can, but first, you have to understand something really important. You see, for me, I remember a time when I was in middle school, and I loved playing the clarinet. I would take the clarinet home and practice, and after school, I would go to extra rehearsals. And my teacher, the band teacher, would say, hey, you got to do this better. You got to play this better. A little faster here, a little louder here. And I just did everything she wanted me to do. And I got better and better and better. Now, I wasn't the best clarinet player in the world, but I had the most fun. When I went to high school, I continued in band, but this time I had a different teacher. I remember an open house one night when my parents came, and the band teacher says in front of my parents, with me present, he says, Michael's not that good. Now those words, it sent chills down my spine, because here was somebody who I looked up to, but somebody who didn't really believe in me. He didn't believe that I could accomplish things. Those words really hurt. And from that point on, I decided that I would not play in band anymore after that, because I didn't want to play for somebody who didn't believe in me. I didn't want to play for somebody who embarrassed me in front of my parents. I felt so ashamed. And after the year was over, I never picked up the clarinet ever again, till this very day. Words matter. What are the words that you speak to others? What are the words that are spoken to you? It really matters. Key 3. Now, key 3 comes down to this. A lot of people, they say to me, hey, Mike, what is the secret to being successful in whatever you do. Now, I am not a self-made man, and none of us really are self-made people. We really need other people around us in order to be successful. This begs the question, how do you get others to be interested in helping you? Now, in order to do that, you'll need to be interested in them first. I call this be more interested than interesting. A lot of people, they ask me, hey, where do you get your magic tricks from? In San Francisco, there are 2 magic shops. One run by Harry, the other is run by Joe. I remember going to Harry's magic shop, and Harry would take out a bag just like this from behind the counter and says to me, young man, come over here. I want to show you something. And I will walk over to Harry. Harry would pull out this bottle and he'll say, watch, magic. Watch, young man. Just like that, the bottle is now gone. I said, Harry, that's not a magic trick. I'm not going to fall for it. And Harry says, you are a very smart young man. In fact, just with a snap of my fingers, that bottle comes right back. I said, that is really not a magic trick. And Harry says, you're right. You're a little bit too smart for this. And I said, whoa, that's pretty amazing. Now, that was Harry's shop. And then after that, he would push me to buy it. Do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy it? How about this? How about buying this? How about this? You need this, you need this, you need this. I've been to Harry's shop several times, but Harry would never even remember my name. Contrast that with Joe's shop. When I walk into Joe's shop, the first thing Joe would say is, hey, Mike, remembers my name. So, what are you doing this summer? He's interested in my future plans. And tell me, how's the magic going? He remembers what I want to do, how I want to get better. And then we would small talk for a long time. And by the time we're done, I would have spent another several $100s at his shop. Magic. Now, both of these guys, they are in the business of selling things. The approach is completely different with both individuals. Do you know people like Harry? And do you know people like Joe's? Where would you spend your money and why? Now, even though performing at your best is not magic, the results can certainly be magical.